All right, guys, today we got Jessica from Catalyst Marketing. She owns a social media video content agency. Am I correct on that?
It's a social media studio.
Social media studio.
Yes.
All right. What is that?
Do you want me to elaborate?
Yes, please elaborate.
Well, thanks for having me on.
My pleasure.
Surprise to get your message in my inbox. But essentially, a social media studio the focus is social media. It's helping small businesses, brands, really understand the landscape that exists on all of these platforms and how to utilize them to reach their audience, to grow their leads, to sell more products or services.
So studio, does that mean are you creating content in like?
That's right.
Like you're doing the same thing this guy's doing.
Yeah,
like videos
so
and
videos, blogs, posts. So all of like the copywriting that you see on a post, visuals, photography. Essentially, clients approach us and go, "I'm too busy now. I can't do this anymore. I need you to take it over." And taking it over means thinking for them, behaving like them, emulating them in every way.
So let's step back. More about Jessica.
Well, we'd be here forever if we were to go there. But I'll give you the Coles notes. So, 33 in business for like the last 5 years, but used to work in corporate as an executive assistant to large infrastructure companies. Actually, one of the companies I used to work for is just down the street, Kiewit Infrastructure.
Okay.
And I just kind of found the rat race to be a little too crazy for me. Like, I had 2 young kids at home, and our family was growing and our values were changing, and I finally decided that I wanted to try something different. And social media kind of came to me via a mentor. There was this guy I met at a networking event years ago. Mm-hmm. And he approached me and he was like, "Hey, you've got the face for communications and online, and I see you post, and I think you've really got a handle on things. What do you think about, working together?" So he kind of took me under his wing and showed me a gamut of things, and I thought, I can do this on my own. Like, this is simple. And I understood the language of social. Mm-hmm. I could take a look at it and automatically I got it. Whether it was like the way that a platform operated or the way to behave on it or the analytics, it just makes sense to me. And so I dive right in. And so 5 years later, Catalyst was once a different name that I started off with. When you're kind of like starting off, dabbling.
Yeah,
you
I changed my name many times. Yeah,
you pick some kind of awful name. And then I thought, I keep seeing this word catalyst everywhere I'd go. I'd see it on food. I'd see it on cars. Somebody said to me one day, "You sound like a bit of a catalyst," and it just clicked. And so that's when I rebranded to Catalyst Marketing, and it's been my journey ever since.
So in the corporate world, were you in marketing?
Yeah, so I managed all high-level CEOs. So I would do everything from like public relations to administration, marketing. When you're an executive assistant, you're representing like the highest level of an organization. So you're kind of wearing a lot of different hats. Mm-hmm. And that allowed me to gain exposure to sort of the industry and the various aspects of it. But really, social media for me didn't become real until I met my mentor. Like, that's when I really started to understand what it was all about.
And then that's when you started the company?
That's when I started the company off to the side. So I was working and dabbling and kind of picking up a client here and there. And, of course, charging, like, crazy low prices.
Yeah, just to get your foot in the door.
Yeah, I'll do this for $100 a month. Yeah. Meanwhile, you're working, like, an extra 5 hours
Yeah, but it's an experience you're getting.
It's experience.
Right? That kind of stuff, I would actually pay somebody to learn that.
For sure. Yeah.
No, I get that. Neat. Do everything cheap in the beginning just to get your foot in the door, just to get some credibility, right?
And build relationships and
learning and seeing what's working.
Yeah. And it was really neat because I found that the more that I failed at something, the more that I grew. And so there was this period where I just could not seem to keep up, right? And I think it was because I was juggling.
I love that. The more you fail, the more you grow.
Totally.
Same here.
Right? And I feel like if you're not failing, something's wrong. You're stagnant. You're likely you've hit a plateau.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's I give that advice to people a lot, actually. Yeah.
No, it's right. If you haven't failed or you're not, failing or things are not working your way, you're not pushing yourself hard enough.
You're not. Yeah.
Stagnant is government employees.
Sure is.
right? Everything's great.
Programmable.
This is what I want to do. This is exactly what it is.
Yeah. And I find, we're kind of taking away from who we are then as just as human beings. I don't think anyone is meant to be programmable. I think you're born into a world where you are automatically like unique gifts, unique character, and we're just not nurturing even like this next generation. Myself having kids, 3 boys. I'm expecting a little girl in December. And the biggest thing that I find is we tell them what to do. We don't ask them, right? We're not like, so what do you enjoy? No, you got to do your math. You got to do your writing. You got to do this. You got to do that. But what if like they suck at a ton of that stuff, but they're really good at art?
Yeah. Or
they're really good at cooking, right? Like.
What do you think we get that from?
I think post World War, so many of those people came out having seen things and having adapted to a military-styled conditioning and came into the workplace and the marketplace thinking, I got to do one thing and one thing only the rest of my life, and that's based on security. It's based on almost like this idea of scarcity, right? I have to stay in this to survive. And that's been passed on. You have to ace math. You have to ace English. Or you're not going to survive. And that message has been brought down to our kids. I even had that as a kid. You got to be a lawyer, Jessica.
Yeah, but my thing is like, why are you passing? Why would you be passing this on to your kids? It's just because that's
a
the
generational norm. We've normalized it to the point where we don't even realize we're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to check myself all the time. It's like, is this from my parents or is this from me? Is this from my siblings? Is this from me?
Exactly.
And then, like, okay, then I really sit there and think about it. It's like, okay, you know what? This is coming from somebody else. This is coming from somebody that probably grew up in the 60s.
Yeah.
And they learned this from somebody that was grown up in the 20s.
For sure.
Right? And that's just being passed out. And when do you break that?
Choice.
Like, yes.
It's choice. Yeah. It's really interesting within the context of what happens generationally. It really takes that one person, sometimes 4 generations down, to finally say, I don't want to do this anymore. And for me, it was, I don't want to live up to your standard.
Mm-hmm. Good.
and saying no. Like realizing I had the choice to say no and to say, I actually really enjoy communications. I like creativeness. I like to cook. I like to explore life at a very deep level. I don't want to be a paper pusher. I don't want to be the lawyer that you want to be. Yeah, it's not gonna.
If you're creative, that's not gonna work, right?
Right. Yeah. And so, for me in school, what ended up being a bit of a hardship was that I constantly hit walls. I couldn't socialize. I couldn't adapt because I was already running at such a high level that everyone that was busy doing their homework and trying to get those straight A's, right? I could not seem to function within that. And so a lot of the times, I'd be skipping out on class, or I wouldn't be doing the homework because it was boring, or I just didn't seem to connect with anything. And I think, again, that conditioning that my parents had, they saw that as just, she's pushing back, right? She's disobedient. She's that. But what I was really saying was, no, it's just not me. My capacity lies elsewhere. And it wasn't until I was a teen that I finally started to realize that I just had gifts and I wasn't utilizing them. And as soon as I started investing in myself, that's when you kind of saw Jessica come out of her shell and go, hey, here I am, right?
When did you realize that?
I think I must have been 18, off to Europe alone for 3 months. And something just connected. To give you a little bit of background, I'm actually not even from here. I was born in South Africa.
Okay.
And my parents immigrated to Belgium after apartheid. Things got really bad, when sort of Nelson Mandela took office. And my mom was from Belgium. We inherited a house out there. And so after high school, I wanted to go back.
Yeah.
Right? And that was the awakening that kind of took place, right? Wandering Europe and just realizing everything I was missing out on.
But so I get that. So creative at high school, and then you went to Europe, explored. Again, to me, that's creative.
Yeah.
But then you come into the corporate world and you take a high school job.
Totally.
High school job meaning hey, look, you know what? dictator, do this, and there's no
100%.
creative there. Why?
I think, to be honest, fear. I think coming back from Europe and realizing that society just wasn't quite ready for what I was able to offer, but also not understanding my offering, right? Like, it happens in business a lot. We know we have something, but we don't know how to go about offering it to the marketplace. I didn't know how to kind of be coming back into more of a corporate, commercialized society, right? Because once again, like, you were either getting a job at Starbucks or at Future Shop, right? Or at a restaurant.
Maybe subconsciously
Right?
you were actually looking for a mentor.
100%. I think
Yeah.
I needed someone to see something and
Yeah.
to say, that's it.
Yeah.
And for that light bulb to go on. And it wasn't until then that I almost had permission. You know, it was like, oh, okay, I get it now, right? But I will tell you something. I butted heads in corporate because I would come up with my own systems and I would say, no, we're doing it this way now. And so my exec would be like, 100%, wow, look at how this is running. You know, he would call me like a little fireball, right? The fireballs in the office. I pushed at all of those glass ceilings, but it got me into a lot of trouble.
But it probably changed.
Yeah.
It's people like you that change.
Yeah.
Change the culture in there, change
Change the
'cause,
culture.
Yeah, a lot of them,
Yeah.
a lot of them just used to the way, and this is the way it's done, and it's not until somebody goes in there and pushes the buttons and changes things around where things happen in the
For sure.
beginning. It's the you're considered the bad one, and then afterwards it's like, oh wow, she's the one that pushed these changes.
Yeah.
That's good. More about Catalyst. So how does so somebody's business is either slowing down or it's growing. Let's just say it's growing,
Yeah.
and they don't have the manpower anymore,
Right.
or the woman power,
Right.
human power,
The human power.
human
yeah.
power. Now what happens? So they contact you, find you online.
That's right.
And then what happens?
Well, I put them through a bit of a question period
Mm-hmm.
because you know how it is, feast or famine. When you're starting out a business, you kind of take everyone on and you're like, sure, I'll work with you and I'll work for low. Again, what changed for me was realizing my own value and going, well, I need a criteria. I need people to follow a certain process when they come in to work with me so that I can figure out if there's a fit. Because if I don't love their business and I'm not into the industry that they operate in, we're not going to work. Again, going back to the creative, right? You don't want things to get boring, to get stagnant. And if they don't align with your values or what you like to do, then... So somebody sends me an email, for instance, and they say, listen, I'm growing rapidly, but it's only me and an assistant. And we just can't take on social media anymore. We can't do the PR. We can't write the blog posts. We don't even know how to build an email sequence. We've kind of been flying by the seat of our pants. Well, what can you do? And so I take them through an entire sort of question period. They fill out a bunch of forms. I do a full audit of their platforms. It's really in-depth. They get like a 30-page report from me at the end of it. And I go, yeah, we can work together. Or I go, no, there isn't quite the fit. If there is a fit, awesome. Because we pretty much get started right away. And as I said in the beginning, I analyze the brand to such an extent that I can emulate them in every way, whether it's in tone, in visuals, in the ability to respond to comments or engagement online. And many of the brands just experience growth within like the first 3 months because suddenly they've got this curated content being pumped out. It's right in line with their values. They're talking directly to the customer that they want to reach, and they get to grow. They get to continue to grow, but without having to worry about anything because I'm doing it all for them, right? My team and I. And so that's essentially how things are set up. Now there's various aspects to offerings that I also do. So I will do web design, I will do branding. Like if a company approaches me and says, well, we've been in business for a couple of years, but we don't really have a brand, right? Our product is good, but we don't have a brand. So we'll kind of take a look at that and maybe rebrand them before we start.
So you cater to the market. Exactly.
Cater
what
to
they
the
want.
market,
Oh,
yeah.
cater to the brand and the market, right?
Yeah.
So a company that's been around for like 10 years, they don't have that brand behind them.
Yeah.
But their target market is, I don't know, older, 70 plus, 65 plus. What happens then? Is it more video? Is it more?
Yeah, I think we lean into what the marketplace, that segment of the marketplace is really looking for, right? If they're not on brand and they've kind of just been doing it, right? They've got a great product maybe, and they understand their target market client. But many realize that target market client, like if you're talking about a baby boomer or a senior, you know, there's some brevity to their life.
Yeah.
And they need to pivot. So we help them to pivot, still catering to that marketplace, still offering that marketplace the content that they want. Like seniors love video, right?
Yes.
So yeah, we will do video.
Yeah.
You know, seniors love Facebook and they love community
They absolutely
groups.
love it.
I mean, you know, my grandma and her cat, it's just like they're there posting every day.
Look, we run ads on Facebook, and it's the older demographic that really jumps on there and gets it.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not the younger. It's not 40 below. It's 45 and up, and it's mostly like 60 and up, and they're like, yes, okay, more.
They're very opinionated as well, right? Whether it's good or bad.
And they start
really
messaging me. It's like, oh, sorry, I think I hit this button by mistake. Like, that's all good. It's 3 a.m. It's all good.
It's okay. No, I mean, they're so gung, and they want to learn. That's what's really neat. They're like sponges. You know, we tend to criticize an older demographic and saying that they're not advanced or they're not on top of things or relevant. I think they're so relevant. They
bring a lot of experience to the table.
Oh, for sure.
A ton of it, right?
Yeah.
Now, the way they do stuff and the way I look at stuff is probably going to be different, but they bring a ton of experience. We got an older gentleman in the office here, and sitting, like, some of the things he says, like, my God, like how does this come out of your mouth, right? But then other times he's saying stuff like, oh, you know what? I didn't even look at it that way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's always going to be a lot of experience.
It's true. Yeah. And it's neat to be on all these different platforms and to see the way that engagement occurs, right? From all of these different demographics, you know, what their value systems are all about. Like a Pinterest marketplace is going to be so different than an Instagram marketplace than a LinkedIn or a Facebook or whatever it is, Snapchat, right? And so the thing is, you really do have to diversify. You have to have that omnipresence because especially if you have a product that's applicable to multiple generations, a lot of brands forget, you know, oh, well, I'm just going to do Facebook right now. Well, you've just cut out 80% of the rest of the people that you could potentially reach. So are you comfortable with just 20%, or do you want to go for the full, you know, 100? So,
and it's changing too. Like Dylan came on board about 2.5 years ago. Is it 2.5 or almost 3? Yeah, 2.5 years now. And our main focus, we were in everything, but our big focus back then was YouTube, Instagram, and Snapchat. Yeah. Today that has changed. We're still on those platforms, but I would say our core right now that we go after is podcast and LinkedIn, right? Just because change the platform a little bit. Yeah. Right? More attention is there. Organic reach is there. Now, for when we run ads, still Facebook is dominant. For sure. Right? And Instagram is there too. Just depending on the market.
Yeah, definitely. And they're pay-to-play platforms, right? Yeah. If you look
Which I'm fine with.
And I love it. A lot of people don't understand that, right? You have to remember many individuals.
Because they want everything is free. They're 100%. Not in business. They're just in the business of actually showing face and like, look at my glorified life.
It's a vanity lifestyle.
It is. Yeah, it rather really than like, this is a business. Yeah. And for us to, you know, really grow on it, we need to start advertising.
That's true. It's like the print marketplace. A lot of clients shift from print, right? They're like, I want to try this out. And I'll say to them, cool, what was your print budget? Oh, $1,500 a month, but I only want to do $500 a month on social. I'm like, well, to be honest, we should be using your entire print budget if that's the case, right? Because we have more to work with at that point. So they think print is the dominant kind of like...
You can't even cater to a market on print.
And you can't analyze data, right? I'll say to the newspaper, hey, how much did this... You know, what did we do with this ad this month? And I'll say, do you know how many people picked up the paper, looked at it?
Let me ask. Let me just. Is this realtors? Bingo. All right.
How did you know? Yes,
it's a given. This is mortgage brokers and realtors.
It's realtors. Yeah. I
have no clue why,
Yeah.
But I think the first to the platform and that runs ad really, really well on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn will take it. And we're seeing it.
Yeah.
I'm seeing realtors that had huge names 10, 15, 20 years ago are dying today.
For sure.
Not physically, but their business is dying.
Their business is dying.
Right? Versus somebody that just came in. There's this one group that's been around probably 5 years. They're killing on social. I don't think they're the greatest realtors, right? But it doesn't have to be. They're bringing in the business.
Yes.
You can go hire, a senior realtor to do the paperwork all day long. But they understand where the traffic is coming from, where people are actually consuming all their content.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that the big thing with realtors, they've been really, I feel like the print industry has almost like catered to them in such a way that they've remained in the bubble.
I won't be surprised if some of these bigger brokerages actually own the printing firms.
They could. Well, look at, you look at a company like Glacier, right? Glacier is like REW and Vancouver Living, and they own also a social media marketing company. They're in everything. They own all the community newspapers, right? So they've got their finger in every little cookie jar there is.
But that's a business. I don't look at them as realtors, right? That's just a media hub to me.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the individual realtors or even the brokerages that still rely on. Cause you know why? They want sales. I look at sales. I think sales and marketing should sit in two different buildings.
For sure.
Not even the same building.
Yeah.
They always want to put it together like sales and marketing. No, it's not. One is sales that I want something right now, and one is branding and marketing that it's not going to happen for another, 3, 6, 9, 12, 5 years.
Yes. Yes.
Right? And building brand. We're building brand. It's got nothing to do with sales. Right? It's all
which I love.
Which eventually would become
amazing.
Sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get calls all the time. Like, hey, I seen your, your video, seen your podcast, seen your Instagram, and then we get the conversation. Hey, look, I got something to run by you. Okay, perfect. Deal. Deal. It's just the way it is.
It's building credibility in the marketplace, right? Because nowadays we're not knocking on people's doors and introducing ourselves anymore like we used to.
Yeah.
Part of that sales process
I'm going to go
was
back to that one of these days.
I was just thinking about that the other day. I thought, what if I put together this like kick-ass guerrilla marketing campaign and I went around and just like knocked on people's doors? Yeah. How cool would that be? Like, can I go back to being like the vacuum salesman? Because I could do that so good.
I think in a couple of years, I think it's gonna come out again. Yeah, because everyone's gonna be on the media side, and it'll be a little better to go there and knock on doors and get it.
Yeah, I agree.
Senior market, that thing is just like, they're lonely. Yeah. They want to talk to somebody.
It's true. They do. They
want to come to me on a Sunday, non-football season, and you want to talk to me in a cafe or at home, I'm willing to talk. I'm willing to talk. I get bored between 2 and 3 on a Sunday.
That's awesome.
Right, like door open, like let's
there
go.
There should be a sign on your door, or even as you're in the cafe.
Okay to chat.
I'm open to chat. I'm okay to chat right now. But that's what I'm talking about, right? That's relational marketing right there. You're opening the door. You're giving people a glimpse. A lot of companies aren't even willing to do that. They're like, as you said, they're so focused on sales. They're so focused on breaking numbers that they're breaking the relationship, right?
Realtors always look at, like, where's my next commission coming from?
Yeah.
Rather than, okay, you know what? I have to, if they look at it this way, okay, 50% of my time, where's the next commission coming from? Because I got to pay bills. I get that, right? But then have the other 50% like, you know what? I need to build something for the next, year and have a funnel, right, of deals coming in.
Yeah.
Bump it to that point and build both sides, because most of them all happens like, I got a deal. I'm going to rush out now. I'm going to show, I'm going to list this property. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And once it's done, I get my commission check. I'm going to go spend, buy useless cars, stupid bags, right? Yeah. And all that crap.
And it's all about vanity metrics.
And they come back, they need the money, and then it's that sale again, right? Yeah. Rather than having that brand.
For sure. Because how do you build trust? Really?
Brand. It's the only way.
Don't you want to put yourself out there and have people actually get to know you prior to... I don't want to do business with somebody I don't know. kind of creepy, you know? Like, I don't know about you, but I don't want you selling me insurance if I don't know what kind of guy you are.
I don't look at it that way. I want to talk to
Really?
everyone. I want to talk to everyone, but I get a vibe.
I get a vibe. I do. I have to connect. We have to find
I don't get the vibe. On straight pictures on Instagram, I don't get the vibe.
You don't?
Nope. I think there's a lot of bullshit there.
Yeah.
I get the vibe from, even on YouTube. If I go on YouTube and we're chatting about this, you'll have the nicest, what do you call it? Is it thumbnail that people look at? The
image?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You look at that, great, like they've spent a lot of time there, right? That's just for YouTube, just for people to go and look at it. You click the video, and there's no value, there's no information, and it, like, I don't want to deal with that person.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. Then I go to the Instagram photo, and it's all like, oh, great, nicely highlighted with lights and professional, pictures and everything else, and half those photos don't even belong to them, and they're trying to promote there. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
So I want to see their other things when they're raw and how they're really chatting, and then go from there. That's how I make my decision.
Interesting.
Q&A, what do we got?
First question from Trevor. How much is an appropriate amount to spend on digital marketing, i.e. Facebook or Instagram ads? Do you cap it at a certain amount?
How much is an appropriate amount? Well, generally speaking, anything over $1,000 to start. I think if you're a small brand, it's very appropriate. I think if you're spending under that, you're not gonna see as much of
$1,000 a month?
$1,000 a month. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, if that you're just talking about ads, if you're talking about now done for you services, I mean, you're looking at $1,500 just to start, right? If you want to pay into that, if you want to say, hey, I'm handing this off to you. Here's all my platforms up to, most agencies, it's like 2 to 3 platforms. That's starting at $1,500. So you got to add 1,000 to that.
Yeah, 1,000 is just the ad spend, right?
1,000 is just the ad
creative
spend.
is not even there.
Creative is not even there. Yeah. So like you're looking at $2,500 easily each month if you want to see results. If you want to play ball, right? Yeah.
Yeah, with content and ad spend. For me, as much as I can.
Yeah.
Right? See what the budget is at the end of the month, and take less home and just push it out there, right?
Yeah.
We did a construction ad last year. I think we had ad spend of, I don't remember. Was it $600? It was less than 1,000. It was less than 1,000. Yeah, and we did about $60,000 in commissions.
That's awesome.
And that was within maybe 3 weeks. I had to pull the ad down.
Really?
Yeah, because there was so much deals coming in, and then like our investors were out of capital, so we had to stop that.
Wow.
But again, we tested. Okay, we tried this community.
Tested, right?
We split tested, exactly. Did the A/B test, right? Seeing what community it is, what lingo we're using, the age groups, and messed with that and seeing what happened.
Yeah, you got to do that.
Right. What do you think of Facebook Messenger, the bot?
Love it.
Same here.
Love it.
Yeah.
I think that's the most brilliant thing in the world.
Mm-hmm. Are you building bots?
If you can build sequences, I don't. I'm going to be honest with you. If you're an agency or studio and you tend to get into absolutely everything, your services get a little oversaturated, I would probably farm that out. I'd say to my client, it's an option. I've got the great person to work for you or work with you on this. Have I done it before? Yes. Do I know people in the industry that do it? Yes. Is it awesome? It totally is, and it converts. It works. Mm-hmm. Setting up a sequence in Messenger is brilliant, and LinkedIn even does it now. There's like sequencing that you can push out there, and a lot of people are saying they're converting a lot.
Yeah, for sure, they're converting.
So it works
saves you
really
time
well.
too. Saves the client time. Yeah. You're going back and forth, and I know I'm going back and forth with a bot.
Yeah.
But again, it's programmed. It's programmed for the language I'm going to be using, the question I'm going to ask, and it's going to respond back to that. If not, like, okay, listen, go call this person, go call Sunil. Here's the number, and we'll go from there. But yeah, I love it. It saves me so much time.
For sure. Auto sales, huge. They love the bot. They're using it like crazy, and they say like any auto dealership that's now using it is just it's seeing conversions increase. Like rapidly, continuously. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
From Janice?
Janice?
Janeth.
Janice.
with the TH in there. I run a digital marketing agency and I have plans of expanding it soon. Just curious on where to find people to hire or source out to. Some examples of positions I'm looking for are ad specialists in multiple channels. Any particular website that I can hire from apart from Upwork.
I'm going to be honest with you. I do a lot of hiring off of the Facebook groups that I'm in that are female entrepreneurs. I'm part of like probably about 20. And there's always a graphic designer, a photographer, a web designer in those groups. They're so niche, and we've built such relationships in some of these groups where there's like 16,000 of us that I don't have to go to Upwork. I can literally go straight to the group and be like, hey guys, I'm looking for a graphic designer today. I need you to have this skill set. Please apply here. Never been disappointed. Like, it's just high level individuals. Upwork, Fiverr, some of these other platforms, I find the vetting process is a little bit harder because they're sitting behind like a bit of a firewall, and they can do whatever they want with that. Whereas when you're in these groups, you're interacting daily. So I can actually see how that person is behaving. I can ask a colleague in the group, hey, you've worked with her before. What do you think about her? You can't do that when you're on Upwork or these other platforms.
What do you think of LinkedIn?
LinkedIn is great. I find it harder to connect with people there, though, because not everyone realizes you got to check your LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So I'll send a message, and it's like weeks later before I get a response.
Because it was known for spamming.
Yeah.
For a long time.
For
and
a
I think
long
in a
time.
lot of people's heads.
Yeah.
I don't really DM on LinkedIn. And even if I do, the likelihood of somebody's checking is so much longer versus Instagram or Facebook, which is fast.
Yeah.
You got to me fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's me. That's why you got back to me fast.
Yeah. Well, I'm literally sitting there with my phone sometimes and I'm falling asleep, right? So is that an addiction, by the way? What is that?
I don't know.
Is that just I'm tuned
No,
in? And
it's called you're running a
can't...
business.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Finger on the pulse. But you know what? Just to kind of further answer this individual's question, is it a male, female, or? I don't know. Okay, so the groups that I am part of are, much of them are female. A guy? Okay. I would really recommend joining like a social media connect up group, like on Facebook.
Yeah,
or
for your area or like anywhere?
Yeah, for your area. Like type in social media marketers or graphic designers in a certain city. And many of them have groups set up where they're all sort of masterminding together, and you can actually go in the group and study the landscape and then eventually put out your, hey, I'm looking.
Don't go to there to spam. That is what you do. Go there, add value, right?
Go to add value, answer questions, integrate yourself, build relationships, be like the nice guy,
So this is a question from me to you. Why only women's group?
Why only women's groups?
Yeah.
Here's what's very interesting. There are no proper just entrepreneur-related groups on Facebook. They're all segmented. It's like, if you look at any like of the entrepreneur groups, it's always got female entrepreneur, working woman entrepreneur group. For some reason, there's no like just standard here.
It's hard to search.
It's hard to search. And a lot of these groups, like Vancity Business Babes, for instance, like one of the largest like networking groups in all of like BC, and now they're Toronto, Seattle, and all these other places. Where's the guy going to fit into Vancity Business Babes? Do you know what I mean? They've specifically marketed, or it's the influential women's business group, or so there isn't anything that's really catering to both demographics.
I never had that. Like the groups that we're in were both.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm always invited into these groups, and they're always
maybe when you're part of
female,
one because the algorithm, they'll just like
like somebody added me to like this group called Girl Gang.
Yeah,
well,
Thug Life.
It doesn't say. There should be a Thug Life group. Somebody's got to start like the male offshoot, right?
A bunch of those.
There probably is, but I'm not being integrated into those groups because again.
No, I'm hearing this more and more. That's why I'm just kind of fascinated. Like why, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell you. It's just the way that I guess I'm migrating, and I'm
maybe it's just the comfort zone, or There's no like guys DMing, hey, let's hook up or something.
Do you know Matt Astafan? Yeah. So I'm part of his group, right? But his group it's an amalgamation. Everyone's in there, so that's great. But again, he's like one of few that I feel like I've even found.
Yeah, I don't have any groups like. I don't think I have any groups in Vancouver. Most of mine are in the U.S.
Are they?
Yeah. I do a lot of business in the U.S. as well, so it's just a bigger market.
Yeah.
A much, much, much bigger market.
A much bigger market.
And they're pro to business.
Mm-hmm. They love business.
Yeah.
They sure do. They like spending money, too.
They like spending money, this kind of stuff here, social media, running ads, that kind of stuff is all. Here, it's kind of tough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to convince businesses to spend money online.
Unless it's an American company that's looking to fill them in the Vancouver area, and I think that's a great market to get into.
For sure.
I got a question. What you think about like business babe talk and boss babe and all this babe stuff? Just as a woman.
No, don't make this political.
No. I think I hear it, and I don't know. I can't speak to it because I'm not a woman. But it's somewhat of it. I don't know because you don't see the same thing with men. Or you
you don't.
What would it be like boss hunk? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just curious your thoughts on it.
I can't speak to why the terminologies are being used, nor can I speak to why the groups are being established. But what seems to be part of the landscape is women are trying to own their authority, their strength, their I don't know why we would ever think that we didn't have it, but for some reason we need to be using very strong adjectives to describe who we are and what we claim and what we need and and in some ways it's just become almost part of language, like day-to-day language for people, like referring to themselves in content and posts.
I meet a lot of business people, a lot of females too talking. The language they use on social media is not the language they use in person, right? They don't even use the word babe. They don't I hate the word boss. I cannot stand it. It's to me like I want to punch somebody in the face if they say they're a boss.
Yeah.
Like I get angry right now inside right now, right?
Yeah.
Because of the word. But that's just me. I just don't like that. And then when you add boss and babe, it's like I don't know. It might be a good hashtag to use, right? But I don't see when I'm meeting with somebody, nobody uses those terms.
Yeah, and I think, again, it's really that online validation, that language that happens in that space.
It's social media word,
It's
I guess.
social media, but it's really pushing for more that feministic movement, right? Like, we're owning
Which is all
this,
good. Which is all good.
And I think in many ways, it's helped a lot of women rise above some of the things that they struggle with. I've seen a lot of women be like, yeah, I'm a boss or I'm a babe or whatever else, and it not have to be a derogatory term, but it really explains where they're at, right? That they're finally leveling up, that they finally feel like they've made it or that they're going to make it. But
they have. I don't get it. Like, I don't.
I don't call myself a boss babe, but I'll use the hashtag, right, to index my posts. Yeah. Why? Because I know that there's a bunch of people hanging out in there.
Yeah.
Just as much as I'll use Vancouver Realtor or something else that's going to be relevant to who I want to be speaking to. Yeah, I don't
know. It's culture right now, and
it's culture.
I'm not.
It really is. It's culture.
I don't know. I'm not liking it. I like woman hustler. I'll take woman hustler.
But you support women.
I'll take. Yeah, I do. Yeah. Like girl gang. I don't like boss babe.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe you need to ask the boss babes, right? Fraser Valley boss babes.
I think it's just
look them up and ask them specifically.
It's catchy. It's catchy.
It's catchy.
It's catchy.
It really is.
Yeah. It's definitely, what do you call it? It's a good brand.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, moving on. This is from Genesis. How much will it cost to start a goods delivery business?
A delivery business? Mm-hmm. Like any kind of delivery business?
Looks like it.
How much?
Just goods delivery.
Well, do you have a car?
Yeah, I'll take this one. No, because here, a lot of businesses have, I think this is good for social media, a lot of them, you look at retail. Retail is pretty much dying down, right? Mm. They are, because the cost of real estate is so high, they are shutting that down. People don't go into the store, they buy more online.
For sure.
Now, look, you know what, we're just going to keep all these packages in storage somewhere. We're going to just rent something that's going to be even cheaper, and we're going to have, you know, order, and we'll drive it.
Yeah.
Might be food, might be packaging, might be clothing, whatever it is. Or it might be a truck that actually has everything in it, right? They pull over. I think the cost of that would be just strictly on your insurance, on the vehicle itself. And
exactly. And that's why I said, do you have
and
a car?
branding on the
like,
side.
Do you have a... there is a delivery service that operates on the Sunshine Coast where I live. It's a man and wife team. And quite literally, they have an office space where they store everything. UPS or whatever, they bring it all in because there's no actual UPS Pure Later or... and they go and deliver.
Yeah.
And people will ask them like the old baby boomers were like, can you pick up my medication? Can you go and do a grocery run for me? Because now, you know, you can shop independent, save on, and pick up your groceries. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's awesome. It's great.
Saves
because
time.
all they did was slap some decals on the side of the van, you know, incorporated the business, right, to protect themselves. And they just drive around, fill up with gas, and deliver packages.
So let's add some value to the community here. How would you market that?
How would I market that?
Yeah.
Easily. All they did was they went into the Facebook groups and told all the community Facebook groups they were around. And they're busier than they could ever be. Because there is no actual office, right? Like they're
so
just
you
using...
wouldn't be running paid? Let's just say not Sunshine Coast. Let's just say, like, you know, bigger market. Let's
Okay,
go Toronto.
if you're a bigger
or let's go
marketplace-
LA.
Oh, yeah. I would put up a billboard, you know? And I would make it catchy. Like, I would just do something, like, silly, you know?
You would do a billboard, but you're social media.
Well, yeah, but really, you know, print,
Okay, what would you
online,
do? What would you do on social?
On social. Yeah, I mean, if I'm looking at the marketplace that likes delivery the most, it's probably going to be baby movers. It's going to be moms, right?
Yeah.
Moms have a need for convenience. It's going to be offices, right? Lots of offices, corporate. They can't be sending their employees out to go pick up stuff. And I'd run ads in those three segments, right? So probably corporate, aging demographic, moms. And I'd probably do a video. You know, I'd probably do a video of the experience of having something delivered and the pressure that it alleviates and like the kind of, you know, it's like the joy of opening the door and your Amazon package is waiting for you there, but it's been handled with like more of a boutique kind of approach, right? Because if you're a small delivery service, you can do that.
Yeah.
You can leave behind this really cool postcard, or if you know somebody's having a birthday, you know, buy them a cupcake and leave a cupcake with their, you know, you could get really creative, right? So yeah, I'd probably run ads on social for those three demographics, and then I would level it up by having an experience at the door as well when you're delivering that package.
I would hit the sport market too.
Yeah.
Somebody's, you know, watching the three-hour game and like, no, I don't want to go and pick up, you know, whatever that I want to barbecue or, you know, eat.
Yeah.
And cater to that.
Yeah. Yeah,
awesome.
for sure.
Awesome.
This question from Josh. What would be a good offer or deal for a taco and breakfast place? Something that would get people to come in the door without us losing money on the deal. Basically, some offer that people can claim on Facebook and then come in and use it in store.
I love tacos. Where's your taco place? Is it close by? Honestly, when it comes to food, wow, the sky's the limit. Like, name that taco. Name that Taco Tuesday. You know, and we'll name a taco after you or something like that, right? Make it like really relational. And maybe the thing is like, you know, if you come in, and we pick you or something like that, you get like 5 tacos on the house. Or, I mean, how inexpensive is a taco? Mm-hmm. You know, like coupons I feel like are out. The whole coupon thing. It has to be something interactive. Like, it has to be something like, tell us a taco story, and you film like an Instagram story on your phone, and the taco's like this character now, or, you know, you're getting people to actually start to engage with the brand itself. I feel like something like that could be really neat.
Do you follow LeBron James?
LeBron James? You mean the basketball player?
Basketball player.
No.
On Taco Tuesdays, he's always on Instagram. He's like, guess what day it is? It's Taco Tuesday, and like everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
Right? They tag him on it,
Yeah.
and I would,
I think that something like that would be great.
Like that will just really
super
take off.
interactive, like where you're incorporating an aspect of getting feedback from an audience. I think that's the best form of marketing because they're actually, it's almost like they have ownership now in the brand, right? Like they're adding something to what you're doing. So encouraging them to do a story or come up with some kind of creative post or come in and like take a selfie with the taco man, like just something where it gets them sort of moving and, interacting.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Next question also from Jessica. Looking for some advice. I own an e-commerce CBD business and I need to bring traffic to my website. But I'm...
I love that business. Yes.
Tacos and CBD, they all go together.
They all go together. They need to make CBD tacos.
And I need to bring traffic to my website, but I'm unable to run paid ads on social media.
That's
Facebook
right.
Shut me down.
Yeah.
I wholesale all my products versus drop ship, so I need to get it moving.
It's funny because I've actually worked with businesses functioning within CBD water, like a new CBD Coke, a new CBD, what are those things called? I mean, I don't utilize the product myself right now, but I think one of the biggest things is the terminologies that we use around the product. Like instead of focusing on what it is and what the contents are of it, focus on more of the brand itself. Try to work around that with like imagery, lifestyle. I think more of a lifestyle approach is probably appropriate. Like there's a new line of CBD drinks out in the States and it's very GQ modeled, right? Holding the can and you're like in a bikini or something and running the ad that way. And then the click through being very inconspicuous. So the URL doesn't say CBD. Right? So name your business something other than CBD. I think you have to go back to not making it just all about the product, but about the experience, about the brand itself. What does it kind of like stand for in the marketplace? Is it geared towards a millennial? Well, what does a millennial do? What do they like to do? Find ways of marketing it in that genre versus like taking a photo of the product itself. And it's like you got this bag of CBD on a counter and you're taking an overhead shot. Yeah, Facebook's going to shut you down immediately, right?
This is a matter of just getting in there and like really researching and out of the box thinking here.
Out of the box thinking, like a really different approach to it. And the biggest thing was with one of the CBD brands that I worked with was because we live on the coast, we decided to do things like about surfing and hiking and mountain biking, right? And with like taglines that again they're vague. And then running that and then people going, oh, that's totally relatable. I need to get my hands on this. And then clicking through and that's when you get them to your shopping cart versus just, CBD, buy it here.
Buy it here. Exactly. Click the link, gethighlife.com.
Right. Well, what if it was Get High Life, but it was like a photo of some mountain biker taking a jump? Get high.
Yeah.
So what's Facebook going to...
They will stop it, and then you have to
whatever, you
resend it back to them, and they'll look at it.
And you just say, hey, this is a mountain biker.
Can I get a real
shot,
person
guys?
looking at this? Yeah, approved. We've had that happen in real estate often.
Yeah.
Real estate ads.
I think you got to get creative, and you really got to figure out what your marketplace wants and where your marketplace lives. Right? Like, what do they do? Find out what they do and build your content out that way. And I think that's for any product or service.
I like that. Build that brand,
Yeah.
not the product.
Exactly. For
I
sure.
wonder if even influencer marketing now with all the regulatory stuff on paid, if that's something that would even be a good avenue. I wonder, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think using influencers is great because influencers can drive traffic through their blogs, right? Or videos. You
can almost pick your price for that too with what you're paying.
You
don't
totally
have to worry
could.
about red tape.
Yeah. There's other ways of doing this one. You might even just get outside of social.
For sure.
And reach out to, companies that you can pair up with.
Yeah.
I would find your local pizza and taco place.
Yeah.
Right. And join them on a joint maybe print ad then.
Yeah. For sure. Like collaboration.
Or be on their box.
Yeah.
When they open the pizza.
Yeah.
Pizza boxes aren't going anywhere. You just
Exactly.
advertise on top of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a great idea. Be on somebody else's product. Find a way to advertise in the corner or something behind it. Yeah.
Or podcast advertising.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This is CBD. This is Jessica's CBD, right? And
Yeah.
just talk about it
that's brilliant.
and then look, and the straight content,
Mm-hmm.
building your brand about around CBD on podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them what it's good for, what it's used for on education on YouTube.
Yes,
You know,
for sure.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like
And
I think
that would-
education could be a huge way to market. I had a lady who was a chiropractor, and she was having a really hard time selling herself online because, again, you can't make promises, right? You can't tell people you're going to cure their disease. So what she did was we just built up a PR list of all of these online sort of health and wellness blogs. And she would go on to their podcast, their blog, their video series, and talk about what she did. That's how she drove traffic.
Yeah, it's the education side, and I think
education side.
everyone
Yeah.
wants to run ads here, and they're complaining that Facebook was not going to take those ads. Well, how about just educating, adding value on that
For sure.
on that brand, and then have them coming to you and purchasing.
Oh, totally. And that podcast could technically, if they wanted to, boost the post that's related to you coming on.
Can't do nothing.
You can't do nothing.
No.
Hey, I'm having special guests, blah, 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 of this product. Come on. What's Facebook going to do? Say, oh, you can't.
Mm-hmm.
They can't do that because you're not advertising the product. You're advertising the podcast.
Yeah.
So there are workarounds. There's ways to get creative. Yeah.
Last question from Sarah. If you were just starting out an agency, what did you do and or what would you do differently to build brand and to get your business going?
I would spend money. That's what I would do differently. I went in, honestly, doing everything for myself, building on my own logo, my website. I was so stingy. I didn't want to spend the money to even get a photo shoot, to put myself out there. Big mistake. I think you quite literally have to have a couple of grand set aside to tackle everything from branding to photography to messaging. And I think videos should be huge, like major component to lead with. And I wish I had, when the marketplace was just ready for that. And it's an investment like anything else. If you've got that $5,000, just like Sarah of the Spanx brand did when she launched and she's now a billionaire, she took that little nest egg and she put it towards the business. Whereas I did things quite opposite. I went out and looked for clients. And I was like, I got to find clients. They're going to fund my photo shoot. That's great. But I think you also, when you're building studio or agency in today's landscape, you've got to have money to spend. You just have to. Building brand credibility is so important. And we all know it's all about vanity online, right? So people are seeing those images and those videos and...
No, it's not vanity about me.
Hey, you've got a pretty neat setup here.
I got a nice setup, but vanity is the last thing I look at.
Yeah, but the marketplace, though, is truly interacting with you, right? And so if all you have is all these stock images all over your feed, and you've got this website that totally looks like you put it together, how can you go out and say I'm an agency or that I'm a social media whiz,
No,
right?
I get that. Yeah.
It's just credibility. So I think, working out like a $2,000 to $5,000 budget to start and kind of boxing in what you need. I need a logo, I need a website, I need photography, I need like one intro video. That's a great place to start.
So you would have delegated that money to like getting all that stuff
Getting it done and getting it done right. Yeah, versus constantly having to go back and tweak and tweak and tweak.
Mine wasn't starting an agency, but my first investment company was I looked at the fees of starting a company.
Yeah.
And then if a lawyer or an accountant sets it for me, I believe this price here is like, you know what? I'm gonna save that $750 or $500, whatever it was, and I'm gonna do it myself. It worked well for 2, 3, 4 years, whatever it was, until the company did well, and the company was about to, purchase or start another company and use that as a holding company, and then I had to redo everything. And at that point, it cost me like 3 times the money.
Yeah, of course it did.
Right,
Yeah.
just to structure it correctly.
Yeah.
So yeah, hire the experience there.
Yeah, I think so.
That's all it comes down to. But for your I kind of agree with what you said, because you're starting an agency. I'd rather do the logo. It's the experience. And then do your own website. I don't know. I don't think you did anything wrong there. I think probably for time.
I think probably for time's sake, and for what it took me to have to learn something that I could have easily just had someone else do, and like properly build out the SEO, properly build out the landing pages. Like I was basically doing it all, you know, and going out there and trying to.
Yeah, but now when you hire somebody, it's like, no, you're wrong. I've done this. I know it. You're trying to screw me here.
Yeah,
right?
I do.
I call this guy out all the time. Like, you're editing wrong. It never happened. It never happened.
I tell him how to run his deal.
I'm sure you do. Oh, wow. Do you know what? I think maybe my experience is just unique to me, but the problem is I see this happening.
Yeah, no, agreed.
I go onto someone's website that says they're a social media marketer, and I'm like,
oh my God, don't even get me started on that.
God. I go onto their feed, okay? Let's not even talk about websites here. Let's talk about the very thing that they say they're marketing. I'm looking at their copy. I'm looking at their engagement. I'm looking at their tone. I'm looking at their visuals. I know who they've purchased the stock from, right? I know it's either Kate Max or Unsplash or Pixel or something like that. And I know who they've maybe even ripped it off of, right? So, you know, I feel like, again, everyone out there wants to be a social media marketer, but it takes a very special kind of individual to emulate brand, to understand that landscape.
I've been looking for a social media manager for about 6 months now. We had ads out there. Can't find anyone in the city.
Yeah.
Cannot. We have people calling us 23 years old. We want 100K. I want, 3 months vacation.
Wow.
I want this. I'm like, what have you done? You just, I don't care about likes and follows.
Yeah.
This is business.
Yes.
Like, how are you branding the business? What's the deal flow coming, right? We have to look at sales later on. Like, all this stuff is very important. Yeah, like, it's crazy that the stuff they're asking, like, experience, none.
Yes, yeah.
Like, what have you done? I don't know. Marketed this tree here in school. Right.
Yeah.
Do you follow Gary Vaynerchuk?
I love Gary.
Okay, so I want to go find somebody in his team.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll pay them $100K.
Gary would totally send somebody.
Yeah, well, Sasha Group will.
He's quite honestly the kind of guy that I kid you not would I find Gary has like this giving mentality, and of course it's based on the benefit to him a lot of the times because he's a businessman, right? So there's a gain. But at the same time, he truly has a heart and a passion for wanting to share the information, right? And one of the things that I love about Gary is he just says it like it is, right? If this is bullshit, he says it's bullshit. If it's great, he says it's great.
I get along with the guy because I'm the exact same way.
Yeah.
When he talks, his parents are the same as mine.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
Right? So every time he talks, it's like, okay, I understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
Oh, I totally get it. But that's been my challenge here for the last 6 months, if not longer, and I pretty much have given up here, and I'm trying to look for somebody in the U.S.
Wow.
that wants to move here and start, because our focus is huge. It's not small. This is just a start, and we have other things that we want to do, and we need somebody to guide it, and then eventually it's going to get to the point where they need to step aside because they don't know how to take it to the next level, and then somebody else will come in, and then it's going to be a big CMO from probably one of the Fortune 500 companies that would look at it and then like, okay, this is the strategy we need to take.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for coming. Really
thanks
appreciate
for having
it.
me. Yeah, it's been fun.
So we'll just send your links over to us, and then we'll put all your Catalyst marketing links on.
For sure.
On the podcast, on everything.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been a pleasure. And thanks to everyone for their questions. I think they were really relevant. So
awesome. All right, guys.
Great.
Until next time.